Aaron adjusted the straps of his backpack and looked up at the mountain that towered before him. The forgotten mountain temple was said to be hidden somewhere along the jagged cliffs, covered in mist and secrets of an ancient civilization. Many had tried to find it, but none had succeeded. Aaron had spent months studying old maps, reading stories from travelers, and preparing himself for the climb. Today, his journey was finally beginning. The morning sun cast golden light over the rocky paths, making them glow as if guiding him. Birds chirped from the forest edges, and a soft breeze carried the scent of pine. Aaron took a deep breath, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Climbing this mountain alone would have been risky, but he knew the challenge would be worth it. His heart raced, not from fear, but from the thought of discovery. As he started his ascent, he noticed movement ahead. A young woman, carefully studying a rolled-up map, was checking the path before stepping forward. She wore a sturdy coat and boots, her dark hair tied back in a practical braid. Aaron slowed his pace and called out, "Hello. Are you also heading to the temple?" The woman looked up and smiled politely. "Yes, I am. I'm Neela. I'm mapping the mountain and the temple's location. It's dangerous to go alone, so I always prefer company." Aaron nodded, feeling a sense of relief. "I'm Aaron. I've prepared for months. Maybe we can travel together? It could make the climb easier and safer." Neela considered him for a moment. She had met many people who underestimated the mountain's dangers. But there was something in Aaron's eyes, determination, curiosity, and a quiet confidence that made her nod. "All right, Aaron. Let's travel together." The two of them set off along the narrow path that wound through rocky slopes and thick trees. Aaron took the lead, moving quickly but carefully, while Neela followed, consulting her map and marking important landmarks. Though their personalities were different, Aaron was bold and quick to act, Neela cautious and precise. They found a rhythm together. Conversation flowed easily, first about the mountain, then about their experiences and dreams. As they climbed higher, the path became steeper, and the air thinner. Aaron's strong legs carried him upward, but he noticed Neela pausing frequently to catch her breath. He slowed down and offered her a hand. "Take your time. The climb is tough, but we'll manage it together." Neela smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. It's not just the climb, it's the unknown that worries me. No one knows what we might find inside the temple." Aaron chuckled softly. "That's what makes it exciting. We'll face the challenges together, and whatever we discover, it'll be worth it." By noon, they reached a small plateau that overlooked a valley blanketed in mist. The sight was breathtaking. Birds flew below them, and the sun glinted off the river winding through the forest. Aaron and Neela sat on a flat rock, sharing water and dried fruit. For a few quiet minutes, they simply watched the world below, feeling small yet part of something much larger. "I never thought I'd see anything like this," Neela said, her voice soft with wonder. "It's magical." Aaron nodded. "It is. And we haven't even reached the temple yet. Just imagine what's waiting for us at the top." Their shared excitement grew as they continued upward. Soon, the path became rugged, with rocks jutting out like teeth. Aaron led carefully, testing each step, while Neela followed, pointing out possible hazards. The mountain demanded respect, and both of them felt its power. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they found a safe spot to camp for the night. Aaron built a small fire while Neela set up a tent. The warmth of the flames offered comfort against the mountain's chill. Sitting by the fire, Aaron unpacked his journal and began sketching the path ahead. Neela watched him, impressed by his attention to detail. She too made notes and added markings to her map. The evening passed with shared stories, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection. Before sleep claimed them, Aaron looked at Neela and said, "Tomorrow, the climb will get harder, but I'm glad we're doing this together." Neela smiled, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "Me too, Aaron. I feel like we make a good team." The mountain stood silent around them, its secrets waiting for those brave enough to reach its peak. And as the stars appeared in the night sky, Aaron and Neela drifted into sleep, unaware of the challenges and wonders the temple held, but ready to face them side by side. The morning air was crisp as Aaron and Neela packed their camp. Mist hung low over the cliffs, and the rising sun painted the rocks in soft shades of gold and orange. Today, the climb promised to be more difficult. The path ahead twisted sharply, and jagged rocks threatened every step. Yet, both felt an energy born of purpose. They were determined to reach the forgotten mountain temple together. As they ascended, Aaron led the way, moving quickly and confidently. Neela followed closely, marking the path in her map, noting every sharp turn and dangerous ledge. "Careful here," she warned, pointing to a section where loose stones could slide. Aaron slowed and tested the footing before stepping forward. "Good eye, Neela. We need to watch every step." The climb grew steeper, and the air thinner, forcing both to pause frequently. Aaron leaned on a rock, wiping sweat from his brow. "This mountain doesn't make it easy, does it?" he said with a small laugh. Neela smiled, adjusting her pack. "No, it doesn't. But I guess that's why it's called the Forgotten Mountain. Only those ready to respect it can succeed." Suddenly, a loud rumble echoed across the cliffs. A small landslide had begun farther up the path, and stones tumbled toward them. Aaron quickly grabbed Neela's arm. "Move back." Together, they scrambled to the side, holding onto each other for balance. After the rocks settled, they looked at each other, hearts racing. "That was close," Neela said, catching her breath. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. Aaron nodded, brushing dust from his jacket. "It's part of the challenge. But we made it through together. That counts for something, doesn't it?" Neela's lips curved into a small smile. "It does. You always seem so calm, even in danger. I admire that." Aaron shrugged, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I'm not always calm. But climbing with someone makes it easier. You make me feel stronger, Neela." The two shared a quiet moment before continuing. The path narrowed, winding along the edge of a cliff that dropped sharply into the valley below. They moved slowly, carefully placing each foot. Aaron extended his hand at one point, helping Neela over a particularly tricky rock. "Here, take my hand. One step at a time." Neela grasped it, feeling the reassurance in his firm grip. "Thank you," she said softly. "I trust you." Hours passed as they climbed. The sun climbed high, and their muscles ached, but their spirits remained high. Along the way, they shared stories from their pasts. Aaron spoke of adventures in faraway lands, and Neela of the maps she had drawn of hidden valleys and forgotten ruins. They laughed at mistakes they had made and admired the lessons they had learned. Each story strengthened their bond, turning their shared journey into more than just a climb. It became a growing friendship, built on trust, respect, and quiet admiration. By afternoon, they reached a plateau halfway up the mountain. A small stream ran through the rocks, offering cool, clear water. Aaron knelt to fill his bottle, and Neela followed, kneeling beside him. The mountain's beauty stretched around them, forest below, clouds rolling in the distance, and sunlight glinting on distant peaks. "This view, it makes the climb worth it," Neela said, her eyes wide with awe. Aaron nodded, looking at the valley below. "It does. But it's not just the view. It's who you climb with." He met her gaze, and for a brief moment, words were not needed. The trust, the shared effort, and the excitement of adventure filled the silence between them. After resting and eating a simple meal, they began the next stage of the climb. The path became rockier and more challenging. Aaron moved ahead to test each step, while Neela followed, ready to guide him with her map if needed. At one point, they faced a steep ravine with no clear path across. Neela examined the map and nearby rocks. "We need to use these boulders to jump across carefully. One wrong step could be dangerous," she said. Aaron smiled, impressed by her quick thinking. "Then let's do it together." Step by step, they crossed, supporting each other, balancing, and occasionally laughing when a slip caused only minor slips. As the sun dipped low, they found a safe spot to camp for the night. Both were tired but satisfied. They sat by a small fire, sharing water and quiet conversation. Neela looked at Aaron with a soft expression. "I'm glad we met. I don't think I could have done this climb alone." Aaron smiled warmly. "Me too, Neela. We make a good team. Tomorrow, I think the temple will be even closer. Are you ready?" She nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. "I'm ready." The fire crackled, the stars appeared in the clear night sky, and the mountain stood silently around them, holding its ancient secrets. Side by side, Aaron and Neela fell asleep, dreaming of the challenges and wonders that awaited them, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. The morning sun rose slowly over the mountain, casting long shadows across the rocky path. Aaron and Neela woke to the crisp air and the sound of distant birds. Their muscles ached from the previous day's climb, but excitement ran through them. They were getting closer to the forgotten mountain temple. The mountain seemed quieter now, as if it was waiting for them to reach its hidden secrets. After a quick breakfast of bread and fruit, they packed their camp and continued upward. The path was narrower and steeper than before. Loose stones crunched under their feet, and the wind gusted sharply, testing their balance. Aaron moved ahead, scouting the safest way, while Neela checked her map and marked the spots where the path split. "Look at this," Neela called, pointing to a section of the cliff covered in thick vines and moss. "The path seems to end here, but I think there's something behind these vines." Aaron approached and ran his hand over the dense greenery. "You're right. It feels like there's a passage hidden here. This could be the temple's entrance." His voice held both excitement and awe. Carefully, they pushed the vines aside and discovered a narrow stone archway, worn smooth by time but still sturdy. Beyond it lay a dark corridor that seemed to lead deep into the mountain. "Shall we?" Aaron asked, glancing at Neela. Neela nodded, her eyes sparkling. "Yes, but carefully. We don't know what's inside." They stepped into the hidden passage, their boots echoing softly against the stone floor. The air was cooler here, damp with the scent of earth and moss. The walls were covered in carvings, strange symbols, figures of people, and shapes that looked like the sun. Neela's eyes widened. "These must be ancient inscriptions. They tell a story, of the people who built this temple." Aaron crouched to examine a carving more closely. "Look at the detail. They worshipped the sun and the mountain, it seems." Everything here was carefully designed. This place is more than just a temple, it's history itself. As they moved further inside, the passage opened into a larger chamber. Shafts of sunlight peeked through cracks in the stone ceiling, illuminating the carvings on the walls. Dust floated in the beams of light, and the silence was almost sacred. Aaron and Neela walked slowly, taking in every detail. Neela pulled out her notebook and began sketching the inscriptions. We need to document everything. Even small details might tell us more about the civilization that lived here. Aaron nodded, exploring the room. He noticed small alcoves along the walls, each containing stone statues of figures holding circular objects that resembled the sun. These might represent their leaders or priests, he suggested. Or maybe guardians of the temple. Hours passed as they studied the chamber, moving carefully from one carving to the next. Occasionally, they would point out something new to each other, sharing observations and theories. Their teamwork felt seamless. Aaron's curiosity and Neela's careful attention complemented each other perfectly. At one point, Neela traced a symbol with her finger. This looks like a map of the mountain paths and caves. Perhaps it shows a secret route deeper inside. Aaron's eyes lit up. Then we need to follow it. It could lead to the temple's heart or even the treasure it protects. The corridor beyond the chamber was narrow and winding, with low ceilings that forced them to stoop. Small cracks in the stone allowed light to peek through, guiding their steps. The air grew warmer as they advanced, and they realized the mountain itself seemed to breathe with life. At one moment, Aaron stumbled on a loose stone. Neela quickly steadied him with a firm hand. "Careful," she said softly, her concern evident. "We can't afford a mistake here." He smiled, brushing off the dust. "Thanks, Neela. I don't know what I'd do without you." A small warmth passed between them, unspoken but deeply felt. Their connection had grown stronger since the beginning of the climb, and moments like these made it clear that it was more than just friendship. Finally, they reached a bend where the corridor opened into another chamber. The walls glowed faintly from sunlight reflecting on smooth stones, revealing more carvings this time, figures holding hands, walking together under a shining sun. Neela studied them closely. "Look, Aaron." They celebrated unity and teamwork. Perhaps it was their way of honoring cooperation and trust. Aaron glanced at her and smiled. "That feels familiar. Just like us, climbing this mountain together." They shared a quiet laugh and stepped further into the chamber, ready to face the deeper mysteries of the temple. Both felt a mix of anticipation and excitement, knowing that each step brought them closer not only to the temple's secrets but also to a bond that was growing stronger with every challenge. The Forgotten Mountain Temple awaited them, and Aaron and Neela were ready to uncover its hidden wonders, side by side. The deeper Aaron and Neela went into the temple, the warmer the air became. At first, it was a gentle heat, like a summer morning, but soon it turned intense, pressing against their skin and making every step feel heavier. Aaron wiped sweat from his brow, and Neela adjusted her braid to keep her hair from sticking to her neck. "This heat, it's stronger than I expected," Neela said, her voice steady but calm. "We have to be careful." Aaron nodded. "It must be natural vents or geothermal energy inside the mountain. But it doesn't scare me. We'll get through this together." They moved slowly through the corridors, their footsteps echoing against the stone walls. Small streams of steam rose from cracks in the floor, and the glowing sun symbols carved into the walls seemed to shimmer in the warm air. Aaron reached out to touch one of the carvings, marveling at its smoothness. The builders knew this heat would be here. They designed everything around it. This temple is more advanced than anyone imagined. Neela followed, studying the carvings and taking notes. It's incredible. But the heat is draining. We need to pace ourselves. Suddenly, Aaron noticed Neela struggling with the heat. Her face was flushed, and she paused to catch her breath. Without thinking, he stepped closer. "Here, lean on me for a moment," he said gently. "We can rest until it cools slightly." Neela nodded, grateful for his support. She felt a warmth not just from the temple, but from the way he cared. "Thank you, Aaron. I don't know what I'd do without you here." Aaron smiled, a quiet pride in his chest. "You'd manage, but it's better this way. We're stronger together." After a short rest, they continued. The temple's corridors twisted and turned, sometimes leading to small chambers with intricate carvings, other times opening into vast halls that made their steps echo like drums. The heat grew even more intense as they approached the inner chambers. Small streams of water trickled along the floor, evaporating quickly in the warm air. At one point, they reached a section where the ground was slick with condensation. Aaron reached for Neela's hand to help her across. "Careful here. One slip could be dangerous." She took his hand, feeling reassured. "I trust you, Aaron. Lead the way." Together, they moved slowly but steadily, navigating the slippery stones. The closeness made their bond feel stronger, each small touch and shared glance carrying silent meaning. They were no longer just companions, they were partners, relying on each other in every challenge the temple presented. As they advanced, they entered a chamber where the walls glowed with a warm, golden light. The air seemed to hum, and the heat was almost unbearable. In the center of the room was a large stone platform with a circular design carved into it. Symbols of the sun radiated from the center, each line precise and perfectly balanced. "This must be an important place," Neela whispered, tracing the carvings with her fingers. "Look at the details, it's meant to honor the sun itself." Aaron studied the platform carefully. "The heat probably comes from this chamber. It's like the temple's heart. Everything we've faced leads here. We need to be careful, but we should explore it fully." They stepped onto the platform, feeling the warmth rise from the stone. Despite the heat, their excitement grew. This chamber was different from the others, it radiated energy and history, and the carvings told stories of devotion, teamwork, and the strength of those who built the temple. Neela looked at Aaron, eyes wide with wonder. This is incredible. Imagine the people who stood here before us, feeling the same warmth, seeing the same light. We're part of their story now." Aaron nodded, feeling a deep connection not only to the temple but to Neela as well. "And we'll honor it by discovering it carefully, together." They explored the chamber, carefully documenting each carving and examining the design of the stone platform. The heat pressed on them, but it no longer felt threatening. It was part of the temple's power, and they felt stronger for facing it together. As they rested briefly on the edge of the platform, their shoulders brushed, and they shared a quiet smile. Words were unnecessary, the experience had brought them closer, building trust, admiration, and a growing sense of warmth that had nothing to do with the temple's heat. The day passed with careful exploration and quiet conversation. By the time they exited the inner chamber, their faces were flushed and their bodies tired, but their spirits were high. The temple had challenged them, tested their endurance, and strengthened the bond between them. Outside, the fading light of the afternoon touched the walls, and Aaron turned to Neela. "We did well today. Tomorrow, I think we'll discover even more secrets. Are you ready?" Neela smiled, feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. "I'm ready. And I'm glad we're doing this together, Aaron." As they set up camp near a small stone ledge just outside the temple, the warmth of the day lingered in the air. The mountain seemed alive, holding its secrets patiently, but Aaron and Neela felt ready for whatever came next. Together, they had faced the temple's heat and found that their courage, teamwork, and growing trust made even the toughest challenges feel conquerable. The morning light spilled into the temple corridors, illuminating the carvings with a soft, golden glow. Aaron and Neela stretched and packed their camp, eager to continue deeper into the temple. The previous day had tested them, but they had grown stronger, more confident, and more connected. Today, the path promised new challenges, ones that would test their minds as well as their courage. As they advanced, they entered a massive chamber filled with sunlight streaming through cracks in the stone ceiling. At the center of the room was a large circular platform with intricate carvings, radiating from a central point like sunbeams. Around the platform were small stone levers, switches, and wheels. Neela knelt to study the carvings. This is a puzzle," she said. "The temple builders wanted to protect something. To reach it, we have to solve this." Aaron studied the platform closely. "It looks like the symbols represent the movement of the sun. If we move the levers correctly, maybe the doors or hidden paths will open." They began to examine the puzzle, each taking a side. Neela's careful observations complemented Aaron's bold experimentation. She pointed out patterns in the carvings, explaining which symbols might correspond to which levers. Aaron adjusted the mechanisms based on her guidance. "Try this one," Neela suggested, pointing to a lever near the edge. Aaron pulled it, and the platform shifted slightly. Sunlight glimmered across the carvings, and a soft hum echoed through the chamber. "Good. That's the right movement," Neela said, smiling. She reached for another lever, explaining how it connected to the carvings. Aaron followed her directions carefully, adjusting wheels and switches with precision. Hours passed as they worked together, testing ideas, correcting mistakes, and celebrating small successes. Their teamwork was seamless. Aaron's courage and intuition balanced Neela's careful analysis, and together they made progress where either alone might have struggled. At one point, a lever slipped from Aaron's hand, and he nearly stumbled. Neela caught him by the arm. "Careful, Aaron. We can't afford a mistake here." He laughed, brushing off the tension. "Thanks, Neela. I'm glad you're here. I don't know what I'd do without you." Her smile was soft but full of meaning. "And I'm glad you're here, too. We make a good team." Finally, after careful adjustment and close attention, the platform shifted with a low rumble. A hidden door slowly slid open at the far side of the chamber, revealing a passage bathed in warm, golden light. Both Aaron and Neela paused, catching their breath and exchanging triumphant smiles. "We did it," Aaron said quietly, almost in awe. "We solved it, together." Neela nodded, her eyes bright with excitement. "It wasn't just luck. We observed, we tested, and we trusted each other. That's why it worked." They stepped through the newly opened passage, entering a smaller chamber filled with artifacts and relics from the temple's builders. Golden figurines, carved stones, and intricate jewelry lay arranged on stone pedestals, as if waiting for someone worthy to discover them. A large crystal sat in the center, glowing softly with a warm, gentle light. Aaron approached it cautiously. This must be the treasure, or at least a sacred artifact. The builders wanted to protect it, and they did an incredible job. Neela studied the carvings around the room. Look at this. The symbols tell stories of respect, teamwork, and wisdom. They weren't just protecting wealth, they were protecting knowledge. Aaron nodded. And that's what makes it so valuable. It's not just gold or jewels. It's history, wisdom, and understanding. That's what makes this place unforgettable. They spent time documenting the artifacts, taking careful notes and sketches. Each discovery brought new excitement and admiration, not just for the temple, but for each other's skills and determination. Their shared joy created a quiet closeness, and small gestures like helping each other across uneven stones or brushing dust from a sleeve felt meaningful in ways they had not expected. After a while, they sat near the glowing crystal, catching their breath. Neela looked at Aaron with a soft smile. I can't believe we made it this far. And I'm glad I did it with you. Aaron returned her smile, feeling a warmth beyond the heat of the temple. Me too, Neela. I've never felt more alive. And I think, this journey is just as much about us as it is about the temple. They laughed softly, the sound echoing in the chamber. Around them, the temple stood silent, ancient, and full of secrets. But for Aaron and Neela, it was no longer just a place of challenge, it was a place of discovery, teamwork, and a growing connection that neither of them could deny. As the sunlight faded through the cracks above, they prepared to continue deeper into the temple, knowing that the challenges ahead would be harder, but also knowing they could face them together. The air in the inner chamber was still and warm, carrying the faint scent of stone and age. Aaron and Neela stepped carefully over the uneven floor, their eyes wide with awe at the artifacts that surrounded them. The golden figurines, delicate carvings, and glowing crystals seemed to hum with energy, as if the temple itself acknowledged their presence. Every step was careful, every glance full of wonder. This is incredible, Neela whispered, her fingers brushing lightly over the carvings without touching them directly. I've never seen anything like this. The craftsmanship, the care, it's amazing. Aaron nodded, his gaze drawn to the central crystal. It glowed softly, bathing the room in a golden light that seemed warmer than the temple's air. It's more than just beauty, he said. It's like they captured the sun's energy in this crystal. This must have been very important to the people who built the temple. Neela approached the crystal cautiously, her eyes reflecting the golden glow. It feels peaceful here. Not just powerful, but calm. I think this was meant to inspire respect and reflection, not just awe. Aaron stepped beside her. We should document everything carefully. Even a small mistake could damage these artifacts, and we need to understand them properly. Together, they moved around the chamber, taking careful notes and sketching the carvings. Each discovery seemed more fascinating than the last. A small golden amulet, a carved stone tablet, and a series of intricate wall paintings told stories of rituals, teamwork, and reverence for the sun. As they worked, a quiet sense of joy settled over them. The excitement of discovery, the challenge of careful observation, and the shared experience of exploring something ancient made their bond stronger. They laughed softly at small mistakes, like when Aaron accidentally knocked a loose pebble that rolled harmlessly across the floor, or when Neela misread a symbol but caught it before moving a lever. At one point, Aaron knelt to examine a small carved box. Look at this, he said, holding it carefully. It's sealed, but the design is amazing. There may be something important inside. Neela leaned closer, studying the symbols. It looks like a puzzle, a simple one, but it requires understanding the carvings. Let me help. Together, they solved the small puzzle and opened the box. Inside were tiny gold coins and a small gemstone, polished and glowing softly like the central crystal. "It's beautiful," Neela breathed, holding it up to the light. "But it feels more symbolic than valuable. Like a reward for respect and understanding rather than for greed." Aaron nodded, smiling at her. "Exactly. That's why the temple is so special. It's not just treasure, it's knowledge, history, and care. It teaches patience and teamwork." For a while, they sat by the crystal, sharing their thoughts and quietly reflecting on the journey so far. Neela looked at Aaron, her expression soft. "I never imagined this journey would be like this. Not just adventure, but connection. I feel like I understand you more now, and I'm grateful for that." Aaron felt a warmth rise in his chest, one that had nothing to do with the temple's heat. "I feel the same way, Neela. I've never shared a challenge like this with anyone before. You make everything better. We work so well together, and I'm glad it's you by my side." For a moment, the temple was silent except for the soft hum of the crystal. The two of them exchanged a glance, and words were unnecessary. The shared understanding, the respect, and the quiet admiration between them spoke louder than any declaration could. Finally, Aaron stood and extended his hand to Neela. "Ready to continue? I think there's more to see deeper inside." Neela smiled, taking his hand. "I'm ready. Let's see what the temple holds for us next together." They moved carefully through the chamber, leaving most artifacts untouched but recording everything they could. The temple's heart seemed to guide them, its warmth a reminder of the energy and care put into every stone. Each step strengthened not only their understanding of the temple but also the bond between them, a connection built on trust, teamwork, and shared discovery. As they exited the chamber, the glow of the crystal faded behind them, but the sense of wonder remained. They knew they had reached something special, not just in the temple, but in each other. The journey was far from over, but Aaron and Neela felt ready for whatever lay ahead, confident in their abilities and in the growing warmth of their companionship. The mountain held its secrets patiently, but for Aaron and Neela, the temple was no longer just a mystery, it was a shared adventure, a test of courage and understanding, and the beginning of a bond that would carry them through whatever challenges awaited. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the mountain as Aaron and Neela began their descent from the temple. Their journey had been long and challenging, but the discoveries they had made filled them with pride and excitement. The mountain, which had tested their courage, endurance, and teamwork, now seemed calm, almost welcoming, as if acknowledging their success. Aaron led the way carefully, checking each step on the narrow path. Loose stones threatened to roll under their feet, and the wind occasionally gusted sharply, but they moved steadily, supporting each other as needed. Neela followed closely, consulting her map and marking the route for future reference. "This climb is almost over," Neela said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "But I can't help feeling a little sad. The temple was amazing. I don't want this journey to end." Aaron glanced at her, a soft smile on his face. "I feel the same way. But we've learned so much and seen so much. And we did it together. That's what matters." Their path soon led them to a narrow bridge of stones, suspended over a deep chasm. Below, the valley stretched endlessly, covered in mist. The bridge swayed slightly with each step, demanding focus and careful balance. "Careful," Aaron said, holding out his hand. "We'll cross it slowly, one step at a time." Neela took his hand, her fingers intertwining with his. "I trust you, Aaron. Lead the way." Step by step, they crossed, their hands tightly clasped and hearts racing with the thrill of the challenge. When they reached solid ground again, they laughed quietly, both feeling a mixture of relief and exhilaration. As they continued downward, a sudden storm rolled in from the mountainside. Dark clouds covered the sky, and raindrops began to fall, making the rocks slippery. Aaron adjusted his pack and looked at Neela. "We need to move carefully. Stick close to me, and we'll get through this safely." Neela nodded, her grip on his arm firm but trusting. "I'm ready." Together, they navigated the rain-soaked rocks, supporting each other whenever one slipped or lost footing. The storm was challenging, but it was nothing compared to the bond they had formed through the journey. Every obstacle they faced strengthened their trust, and every challenge reminded them that they were stronger together. Hours later, the storm passed, leaving the mountain glistening under the golden light of the late afternoon sun. They finally reached the base, where the forest opened up and the familiar paths led them back to safety. Both were exhausted but exhilarated, the sense of achievement making their steps lighter. Aaron turned to Neela, his face glowing with a mix of relief and joy. "We did it. We made it through the mountain, the temple, and every challenge along the way." Neela smiled, her eyes reflecting the sunlight. "Yes, we did. And I'm glad we did it together. This journey, it's more than just the temple or the climb. It's everything we shared, the challenges, the discoveries, and us." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest, a quiet happiness that went beyond any adventure he had ever experienced. "I feel the same way, Neela. This journey brought us together, and I don't want it to end here." They sat for a moment, looking at the mountain that had tested and inspired them. The forgotten temple, hidden for centuries, now held not only its ancient secrets but also the memories of their shared courage and friendship. It had become a symbol of their bond, something they would always carry with them. As the sun dipped behind the distant peaks, Aaron gently took Neela's hand. "We climbed a mountain, discovered a temple, and faced every challenge together. And through it all, I realized something: having you by my side made it all possible." Neela squeezed his hand, smiling softly. "And having you by my side made me stronger. I feel the same way, Aaron. This journey, it's ours now, forever." They stood together, looking back at the path they had conquered, feeling pride, joy, and a quiet love that had grown from shared adventure and trust. The mountain and temple were behind them, but the bond they had formed would guide them into the future. As they walked away from the base, the wind carrying the scent of pine and fresh earth, they knew their adventure was only the beginning. More mountains would rise, more challenges would come, but together, Aaron and Neela felt ready for anything. Their hearts were light, their spirits high, and the warmth of their shared journey lingered with them, like the sun's golden light fading over the forgotten mountain temple. With every step, they walked side by side, knowing that the greatest discovery of all was not the treasures of the temple, but the connection and trust they had built along the way.